All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am V. Ravi Kumar and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha. The headlines: Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate and lay foundation stone of 22 developmental projects worth over 870 crore rupees in Varanasi today. To also distribute rural residential rights record Gharoni to over 20 lakh people of Uttar Pradesh. Prime Minister addresses Second National Committee meeting on Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav in New Delhi, says India should emerge as global leader in post-COVID New World Order. Government hikes minimum support prices for copra aimed at doubling farmers' income by 2022. Delhi government bans cultural events and public gatherings for Christmas and New Year celebrations in view of rising cases of Omicron. Haryana bans unvaccinated people from using public places from 1st of next month. India hands over 1 million doses of COVID vaccines to Myanmar. New Delhi supports UN Security Council resolution on easing curbs on aid to Afghanistan. In cricket, India to take on host UAE in opening match of Under-19 Asia Cup in Dubai this morning, and in National Hockey League, comprising 32 teams from US and Canada, not to send its players to Beijing Winter Olympics. As India marches towards administering 150 crore vaccine doses against COVID-19, news about the new corona variant is a cause of concern. In this situation, we appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and help others get vaccinated. Please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact National Helpline numbers 01123978046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate and lay the foundation for 22 developmental projects worth 870 crore rupees at Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh today. On the occasion, he will distribute rural residential rights record Gharoni to over 20 lakh residents of the state. During his visit, the Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone of Amul milk plant of Banas Dairy Sankul at Uttar Pradesh State Industrial Development Authority Food Park at Karkhiav in Varanasi. Spread across 30 acres of land, the dairy will be built at a cost of about 475 crore rupees and will have a facility for processing 5 lakh litres of milk per day. Mr. Modi will also lay the foundation stone for the biogas-based electricity generation plant for the Milk Producer Cooperative Union plant at Ramnagar in Varanasi. Now we go over live to our correspondent Sushil Tiwari in Varanasi to know more about the projects being unveiled by the Prime Minister today. Sushil, how does the proposed milk plant of Amul help the farmers of the region and the people involved in milk production?
Well, Ravi, the plant will produce around 50,000 liters of ice cream, 20-ton paneer, buttermilk, curd, lassi and sweets per day. This is the capacity of the plant which is claimed by the Amul, and it is said to generate the avenues of employment for almost 2.5 lakh people indirectly or directly. And the plant will also have a bakery unit and will also include a take-home ration plant to produce nutritional supplements for women and children. So in overall, this project will benefit the local farmers, especially the neighboring villages of Purvanchal region like Varanasi, Jaunpur, Chandauli, Bhadohi, Gazipur, Mirzapur and Azamgarh.
Talking about the other projects, Sushil, what is the specialty of this biogas plant and how is this proposed biogas plant a unique initiative for increasing the income of the farmers?
Well, Ravi, the proposed biogas plant at Ramnagar milk plant is also very unique, and it will use around 100 metric ton of cow dung per day, which shall be aggregated from minimum 2,000 farmers and gaushalas within radius of about 10 km of the dairy plant. They will collect around 25 kgs cow dung per farmer owing 2 to 4 animals. So it will help them in getting more income and making them self-reliant also. Farmers supplying cow dung shall be paid around 1 rupee per kg of cow dung upfront and would also be supplied with solid and liquid manure at subsidized rates through reverse supply chain. So the Varanasi dairy plant, which will have this biogas plant, shall be the first dairy plant in the country meeting its energy need from cow dung. Ravi?
Thank you, Sushil, for the update. During his visit, the Prime Minister will also launch a portal and a logo dedicated to the conformity assessment scheme of milk products developed by the Bureau of Indian Standards with the help of National Dairy Development Board. The Prime Minister will inaugurate multiple urban development projects in Varanasi and projects in the education sector. The Prime Minister has said India should emerge as a world leader in this post-COVID New World Order. Mr. Modi was addressing the second National Committee meeting on Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav in New Delhi yesterday. He said, India is celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav at a time when the whole world is going through the COVID crisis, and the country is also not untouched by it. Mr. Modi said the crisis has taught us new lessons and shattered the existing structures which will lead to the emergence of a new world order in the post-COVID era. The Prime Minister said, 21st century belongs to Asia and it is important to focus on India's stature in Asia in this century. He emphasized that this is an opportune time to set focus on 2047 when the country will celebrate 100 years of independence. Various members of the National Committee attended the meeting, including the Lok Sabha Speaker, governors, union ministers, chief ministers, political leaders, officials, spiritual leaders, artists and film personalities. The members of the committee thanked the Prime Minister for the organization of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The first meeting of the National Committee was organized on the 8th of March this year before the launch of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav by the Prime Minister on 12th of March.
The Union Cabinet has given its approval for the minimum support prices MSP for copra for the 2022 season. Briefing Media, Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur said the MSP for fair average quality of milling copra has been increased to 10,590 rupees per quintal, while MSP for ball copra has been increased to 11,000 per quintal for the 2022 season.
मंत्रिमंडल ने कोपरा यानी नारियल की गरी के लिए वर्ष 2022 के लिए एमएसपी निर्धारित किया है। किसानों के आर्थिक हितों को ध्यान में रखते हुए केंद्र सरकार विभिन्न विषयों, विभिन्न कृषि उत्पादों के एमएसपी निर्धारित करती है। वर्ष 2022 में नारियल का तेल निकालने के लिए उपयोग में लाई जाने वाली फेयर एवरेज क्वालिटी की मिलिंग कोपरा के लिए 10,590 रुपए प्रति क्विंटल तथा पूजा इत्यादि में उपयोग किए जाने वाली बाल कोपरा के लिए 11,000 रुपए प्रति क्विंटल का एमएसपी निर्धारित किया गया है।
The decision is based on recommendations of the Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices. It assures a minimum of 50% as margin of profit as one of the important and progressive steps towards making possible doubling of farmers' incomes by the year 2022. The Delhi Disaster Management Authority, DDMA, has issued an order banning all cultural events and gatherings for Christmas and New Year celebrations in the national capital in view of the rising cases of new COVID variant, Omicron. In its order, the DDMA has asked all district magistrates and deputy commissioners of police to ensure that no cultural event and congregations take place during Christmas and New Year. It has asked the district magistrates to conduct survey of the entire area falling in their jurisdiction and to identify those pockets, colonies and markets which have potential of becoming super spreader or hotspot of COVID-19 virus and Omicron variant. It has called for taking concerted action in these areas as per the protocol like test, track and treat, containment measures and enforcement of COVID-appropriate behavior.
Haryana government has banned unvaccinated people from using public places from 1st of next month. Talking to AIR News, Haryana Health Minister Anil Vij said the unvaccinated people will not be able to use marriage halls, hotels, banks, any malls, any government offices and bus services from the 1st of January next year.
1 जनवरी से जिस भी व्यक्ति ने कोरोना की दोनों वैक्सीन नहीं लगाई होगी उसको किसी भी होटल में, रेस्टोरेंट में, बैंक्वेट हॉल में, मॉल में, किसी बैंक में, किसी दफ्तर में, रेल में, गाड़ी में या जहां पर भी भीड़-भाड़ वाले इलाके होंगे वहां पर उनको प्रवेश की इजाजत नहीं दी जाएगी। नोटिफिकेशन हमने कल जारी कर वैसे भी हमारी टीमें घर-घर जाके लगा रही हैं, लेकिन अब ये कोरोना की आहट को देखते हुए ये कदम हमें उठाना पड़ा ताकि लोग खुद भी घरों से निकल कर आएं और वैक्सीन लगवाएं।
All India Institute of Medical Sciences AIIMS Delhi Director Dr. Randeep Guleria has said the Omicron variant of coronavirus is more transmissible than any other variant. Talking exclusively to AIR News, Mr. Guleria emphasized on vaccination and COVID-19 appropriate behavior to counter the spread of the virus.
So Omicron is a new variant, and we know that the virus will continue to mutate and new variants will emerge. It is causing, as per the data that we have, because most of the cases currently are from the Western world, from UK, Denmark, South Africa. There it is causing a mild illness. Hospitalizations are not much. We need to have more data as it evolves in terms of the hospitalization and severity of illness. Currently it is causing a mild illness. So again, I think the protection is twofold. One is for all of those who need to get vaccinated, who are due for vaccination, should come forward and get themselves vaccinated, whether it's the first dose or the second dose. Vaccination is very important to prevent a person from severe illness and from hospitalization and death. And the second is that we have to be again aggressive in COVID appropriate behavior.
India's COVID vaccination coverage has reached nearly 140 crore mark. The cumulative figure stands at 139 crore 61 lakh 10,941. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry said more than 62 lakh 70,000 vaccine doses were administered yesterday till 7 p.m. World Health Organization chief has warned that blanket booster programs of COVID-19 vaccines are likely to prolong the pandemic rather than ending it by diverting supply to countries that already have high levels of vaccination coverage. Addressing a media briefing at Geneva, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said it will give the virus more opportunity to spread and to mutate. He said no country can boost its way out of the pandemic, and boosters cannot be seen as a ticket to go ahead with planned celebrations without the need for other precautions.
In our bilingual live phone-in program, Corona Jagrukta series, Dr. Harish Pemde of Kalavati Saran Children's Hospital in Delhi will be with us tonight to answer the queries related to coronavirus. This program can be heard on the FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. Listeners can ask questions to the expert on telephone numbers 011-2342-1230 and 011-2342-1764. You can also post your queries on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts by using the hashtag AskAIR.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate and lay foundation stone of 22 developmental projects worth over 870 crore rupees in Varanasi today. To also distribute rural residential rights record, Gharoni, to over 20 lakh people of Uttar Pradesh. Prime Minister addresses second National Committee meeting on Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav in New Delhi, says India should emerge as global leader in post-COVID New World Order. Government hikes minimum support prices for copra aimed at doubling farmers' income by 2022. Delhi government bans cultural events and public gatherings for Christmas and New Year celebrations in view of rising cases of Omicron. Haryana bans unvaccinated people from using public places from 1st of next month. India hands over 1 million doses of COVID vaccines to Myanmar. New Delhi supports UN Security Council resolution on easing curbs on aid to Afghanistan. In cricket, India to take on hosts UAE in opening match of Under-19 Asia Cup in Dubai this morning, and National Hockey League comprising 32 teams from US and Canada not to send its players to the Beijing Winter Olympics. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla has handed over 1 million doses of made-in-India COVID vaccines to the representatives of the Myanmar Red Cross Society. Mr. Shringla began his two-day visit to Myanmar yesterday. It is the first such high-level visit from India after the seizure of power by the Myanmar military on the 1st of February this year. The visit will present an opportunity to discuss humanitarian support to Myanmar, security and India-Myanmar border concerns, along with the political situation in the country. India has voted in favor of a UNSC resolution on easing curbs on aid to Afghanistan. At the United Nations Security Council, India has supported the resolution to grant exemption from sanctions for humanitarian assistance to Afghanistan. India's permanent representative to the UN, T.S. Tirumurthy, said that the access to humanitarian assistance for Afghanistan should be without hindrance.
We welcome the provision in the resolution which calls for a review of the implementation of the humanitarian carve-out after 1 year. Mr. President, over the last 2 decades, India has contributed significantly to the development of Afghanistan. We have just airlifted 500,000 doses of vaccines and 1.6 metric tons of life-saving medicines. We are also in the process of sending more medicines and food grains. India is ready to deliver urgent humanitarian aid consisting of food grains and medicines to the people of Afghanistan. We remain steadfast in our commitment towards humanitarian assistance to the people of Afghanistan.
The News Services Division brings you glimpses of the year 2021 in its special year-ender series, The Year That Was. Today, listeners, we take a look at Green India beyond COP26. Since time immemorial, India has a culture of not just conserving and protecting nature, but living in harmony with it. Continuing with its tradition, the country is taking considerable steps to protect the environment to make it sustainable for people. Recently, Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave a new mantra to protect the environment while addressing the COP26 summit at Glasgow. The new mantra is LIFE, which stands for Lifestyle for Environment.
One word, एक शब्द क्लाइमेट के संदर्भ में वन वर्ल्ड एक विश्व का मूल आधार बन सकता है, अधिष्ठान बन सकता है. ये एक शब्द है लाइफ, LIFE, यानी लाइफ स्टाइल फॉर एनवायरमेंट. आज जरूरत है कि हम सभी लोग एक साथ आकर कलेक्टिव पार्टिसिपेशन के साथ लाइफ स्टाइल फॉर एनवायरमेंट यानी लाइफ को एक अभियान की तरह आगे बढ़ाए. ये एनवायरमेंटल कॉन्शियस लाइफ स्टाइल का एक मास मूवमेंट बन सकता है. आज आवश्यकता है माइंडलेस और डिस्ट्रक्टिव कंजम्पशन के बजाय माइंडफुल और डेलिबरेट यूटिलाइजेशन की.
Despite having 17% of the world's population, India's responsibility in emissions has only been 5%. Still, the country is leaving no stone unturned in fulfilling its obligations and taking several steps for the protection of the environment. Let's hear a report from our correspondent.
India has taken several steps to deal with the dangers of climate change and protect the environment in the last 7 years, be it fulfilling the promises made during the climate change conference held in Paris or the launch of the International Solar Alliance. India has taken strong initiatives to make the country's development eco-friendly. This is the result of these initiatives that India has achieved the ambitious target of generating 40% electricity from non-fossil fuel sources ahead of deadline. At present, India is generating about 157 gigawatt of electricity from non-fossil fuel sources. India has committed to take this to 500 gigawatt in the coming years. In achieving this goal, 5 targets named as Panchamrit suggested by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during the climate change conference in Glasgow will give a lot of impetus. India has set an ambitious target of reducing its carbon emission to net zero by 2070. As climate change is posing challenges, the steps taken by India will prove to be a milestone and an example for the world. Bhupen Singh, AIR News, New Delhi.
And now let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव. Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember the valiant warrior of the War of Independence, Swami Shraddhanand, who died on 23rd of December 1926. An Arya Samaj sannyasi, he propagated the teachings of Dayananda Saraswati and worked for social reforms in the 1920s.
Swami Shraddhanand founded Gurukul on the 16th of May 1900 at Gujranwala, which was later moved to Haridwar.
During the national struggle for independence in the year 1919, he plunged into the agitation under the leadership of Gandhiji. He helped organize protests against the Rowlatt Act. When Gandhiji was arrested, Swami Shraddhanand led a protest march in Delhi, and when a soldier threatened to fire upon the crowd, he bared his chest and dared him to shoot. As a social worker, he always worked to improve the conditions of the poor and the downtrodden. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, he lived a hero and died a hero.
We also remember freedom fighter and 5th Prime Minister of India, Chaudhry Charan Singh, who was born on the 23rd of December 1902 in Meerut, Uttar Pradesh. Charan Singh followed Mahatma Gandhi in non-violent struggle for independence and left his lucrative law career to join the freedom movement. From 1930 to 1947, he served several years in jail for participating in various struggles against the British government.
After independence, Charan Singh dedicated his life to the cause of farmers. He served as Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh twice and was elected the 5th Prime Minister of India in 1979. We salute the great nationalist and leader of farmers.
We also remember freedom fighter P. Kakkan, who left us on the 23rd of December 1981. Fondly known as Kakkanji, he was born on the 18th of June 1908 in Tumbaipatti, Melur in Madras Presidency. Kakkan was drawn to the independence movement during his youth. In 1939, when the state government brought the Temple Entry Authorization and Indemnity Act, Kakkan led the temple entry of so-called lower castes at Madurai. He participated in the Quit India movement and was sent to Alipur jail. In 1946, he was elected to the Constituent Assembly.
After independence, Kakkan served as minister in the Tamil Nadu state government. We salute the great nationalist.
भारत के 44वें स्वतंत्रता दिवस के इस शुभ अवसर पर मैं आप सबको अभिवादन करता हूं। मैं एक साधारण कार्यकर्ता हूं जिसका जन्म एक छोटे से गांव में हुआ था। लोकतंत्र की महिमा है, आपका आशीर्वाद है और मेरा अहोभाग्य है कि मैं आज इस ऐतिहासिक लाल किले से आपको संबोधित कर रहा हूं।
The 23rd of December is also the death anniversary of P.V. Narasimha Rao. Born on the 28th of June 1921, Narasimha Rao was active during the Indian independence movement. P.V. Narasimha Rao was part of Vande Mataram movement in the late 1930s in the Hyderabad state.
Narasimha Rao secured representation for depressed classes in politics during his tenure as Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. He served as the 9th Prime Minister of India from 1991 to 1996.
He is credited to have laid the foundation of economic reforms and the reintegration of the Indian economy with the global economy in 1991.
Narasimha Rao was also an accomplished linguist. Rao's mother tongue was Telugu, but he also had an excellent command over 8 Indian languages and 8 foreign languages. That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
In our program Parikrama, today we have a special roundup on unsung heroes of Indian freedom movement in our series Veer Gatha at 4:45 p.m.
आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के पावन अवसर पर आकाशवाणी समाचार के कार्यक्रम परिक्रमा में बृहस्पतिवार को शाम 4:45 पर सुनिए देश की आजादी में अपना अमूल्य योगदान देने वाले भारतीय स्वतंत्रता संग्राम के सेनानियों की वीर गाथा।
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase hallmarked gold jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago.
President Ramnath Kovind will arrive in Thiruvananthapuram today to attend various programs in the national capital. In the capital city, the President will unveil a bronze statue of P.N. Panikkar, father of library movement in Kerala, at Pujapura around 11:30 a.m. President Kovind will also visit the famous Sri Padmanabha Swami temple in Thiruvananthapuram this evening. In cricket, India's under-19 cricket team will take on the UAE in the opening match of the Asian Cricket Council ACC Under-19 Asia Cup in Dubai today. The match will begin at 11 this morning. In other encounters, Pakistan will take on Afghanistan while Kuwait will take on Sri Lanka. This is the second time after the 2013-14 edition that the UAE is hosting this 50-over tournament. Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Thakur has congratulated the Indian men's hockey team for beating Pakistan and clinching third place in the Asian Champions Trophy. In a tweet, Mr. Thakur said another feather in the cap of this team. Yesterday, India won the bronze medal, beating Pakistan 4-3 in the Asian Champions Trophy tournament at Dhaka.
National Hockey League NHL has confirmed it will not send its players to the men's ice hockey tournament at the Beijing Winter Olympics because of a surge in COVID-19 cases. The NHL is a professional ice hockey league in North America comprising 32 teams, 25 in the United States and 7 in Canada. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman said Olympic participation is no longer feasible with 50 league games postponed till date. The games are scheduled to begin in China on 4th of February next year. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi is likely to have shallow fog. Mumbai and Kolkata will have a mainly clear sky. Chennai may have mist in morning and a partly cloudy sky later. Srinagar may witness rain or snow. Leh and Gilgit is likely to have generally cloudy sky. Guwahati, Imphal, Shillong, Aizawl and Kohima will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. PM to review COVID situation today, reports the Hindu Business Line. The Pioneer in its story reports that this is the first time that the Prime Minister will meet to discuss the rising Omicron scare that has now spread to 11 states. Forces hold synergistic exercise to prepare for China challenge, reports the Pioneer. Curbs return to keep year-end celebrations muted again, says Business Standard. Christmas and New Year celebrations banned in Delhi, reports the Asian Age. Out of 34 Omicron cases at Delhi Hospital, 33 are fully vaccinated, writes the Indian Express. The Times of India reports that 1 out of every 5 travellers testing positive at the IGI airport at Delhi is infected with the Omicron variant. The Statesman headline, quoting the Chief Election Commissioner, says parties to state reason for fielding tainted candidates in Goa polls.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate and lay foundation stone of 22 developmental projects worth over 870 crore rupees in Varanasi today. To also distribute rural residential rights record Gharoni to over 20 lakh people of Uttar Pradesh. Prime Minister addresses second National Committee meeting on Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav in New Delhi, says India should emerge as global leader in post-COVID New World Order. Government hikes minimum support prices for copra aimed at doubling farmers' income by 2022. Delhi government bans cultural events and public gatherings for Christmas and New Year celebrations in view of rising cases of Omicron. Haryana bans unvaccinated people from using public places from 1st of next month. India hands over 1 million doses of COVID vaccines to Myanmar. New Delhi supports UN Security Council resolution on easing curbs on aid to Afghanistan. In cricket, India to take on hosts UAE in opening match of Under-19 Asia Cup in Dubai this morning. And National Hockey League, comprising 32 teams from US and Canada, not to send its players to Beijing Winter Olympics. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.